Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome everybody. As you probably know, we are focusing the sessions of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus during this month to the analysis of the different flagships declared in the Recovery and Resilience Facility. And today we will speak about the second one, Renovate. Those sessions are not very typical because we need your participation. Okay, it's important. We are not receiving experts from the European Commission explaining every flagships. This is more a collaborative effort between us just to understand what is involved on every one of those flagships and what kind of projects we can build, deliver, propose to the Commission that makes sense for them and for us, for our cluster members. Okay, and the idea is for these sessions to be inspirational for you, okay, in your proposals. In order to speak about that, today we have invited Silvia Rossi from Cluster Build, Italy. But first, before I introduce Silvia, I will give the word to Nina, that will present what we know about the flagship Renovate. Nina, are you there?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
So please give us your introduction.
Yes, as we have already started on this Monday with the different flagships, the second one we want to look today at is Renovate. These are the slides that that Ulla Engelmann, who I see is already in the meeting, showed us about the flagship areas for investment and reforms. And the second Renovate will mainly deal with energy efficiency of building, but not exclusively, as we understand, but this will be the main focus of this flagship area for projects for investments and reform. And what we see in the annual growth strategy 2021 about this flagship, it says it's about improving the energy and resource efficiency of public and private buildings. It will substantially contribute to achieving the EU's climate objectives, create a large number of local jobs through the member states, and foster digital development through smart living and metering. So we have here both the green transition and as well as the digital development, so also the digital transition reflected in this flagship area. And there's one clear aim stated that by 2025, it will contribute to the doubling of the renovation rate and the fostering of deep renovation. And this renovation rate is something that Ulla has already also told us about, is one of the big initiatives that will be starting now. And if we look at what kind of investments or reforms in general we can do under the RRF, under the Recovery and Resilience Facility, is that it should cover in general the green digital transition, strengthen the growth potential, job creation, and economic and social resilience. And we can invest in fixed capital, human capital, and natural capital. So they say there's a broad concept of investment in these three areas, and I think especially for Renovate, when we talk about infrastructure buildings, this will be a very clear or obvious connection for the investments, but also about we have here possibilities on education, training, skilling, share renewable natural resources, protecting the environment, probably also a topic for for the construction sector, the climate change as one of the objectives that we should work towards. And all the projects in general should make a lasting improvement to the functioning of the markets, institutional structures, public administration, relevant policies such as mentioned the green and digital transition, which are the overall goals and lines for all the projects to be submitted. And as we have in the draft templates for the member states, the flagship Renovate, also here, every country, as it says here, can see what is their national baseline, what kind of investments and reforms do they suggest for this flagship, and describe how does it contribute to reaching the EU objectives. So these are for all flagships, so also for Renovate, as a template to think about.
Perfect, Nina. Thank you very much for the introduction to the flagship. So we know which are the flagships. We are speaking about the Renovate 1. And to go deeper on it, we have with us Silvia Rossi from the Cluster Build. Buongiorno, Silvia. Welcome.
Buongiorno, good morning.
So we are glad to have you. I don't know if you have been able to prepare some presentation or not, or just we will speak.
Well, for a very short presentation, so I will take a few minutes just to introduce our cluster and what we are going to do for renovation flagship.
Perfect.
Okay, can I share my screen?
I have given you the presentation, right? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Could you
put
it in full screen?
Yeah. Can you see that?
Thank you. Go on, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Just a few minutes. I'm Silvia Rossi from Italy, Emilia-Romagna region, and I'm the cluster manager of Building and Construction. We come from Emilia-Romagna region, and we are funded by RRF plan of Emilia-Romagna, and we are 7 different cluster. Of course, we are cluster build in this case, and we are communities of public and private project. And for example, we work all together with the university, research lab, big enterprises, small enterprise, startup, and also the foundation ITS for the training professionals. And here you can see our members. And well, talk about the renovation and resilience plan. Our core are 4. Since we were born, we're 3, and now we have another one that is a digital instrument for urban regeneration. So now we are 4 different cores or so-called value chain. We work on the cultural heritage management because you know that in Italy we have plenty of monuments, plenty of historic buildings, and we need to conserve and promote the cultural heritage, both historic building but also the artistic one. How can we do it? Through the use of smart materials, predictive diagnostic, and digitalized process. Moreover, we work also on the energy efficiency and life cycle assessment. So we try to decrease the impact of materials on the construction, the CO2 emissions. So we work also on the decarbonization of buildings and also on human regeneration and cities resilience, studying, for example, the urban heat island mitigation, the retrofit of public space, open public spaces. And what else? Well, we try also to work with the blockchain, apply it to the building and to the smart communities that we have. The last one is Sikuchi, that is a value chain dedicated to the safety in buildings and infrastructure. So we work on the improvement of safety in the road, on bridge. So we work on a smart road white paper, for example. Moreover, we try to apply innovative technology and also smart management for the infrastructure. So we work with the sensor platform, data mining, and so on. This is our vision, but I go on because the most important, I think, things for our webinar today is that maybe you already know that Italy is promoting the eco bonus 110%. It means that the citizens can refurbish their building without money. So they can ask to the credit system, or they can ask to the big enterprise to do a sort of discount on the price of the refurbishment. Emilia-Romagna region in this case is new for us because yesterday evening at 6 o'clock in the evening, yes, we met our region and our council to talk about it, because we think that this is a very great opportunity for us to improve our competitiveness in the territory. Is a very a big challenge for our companies to work on energy efficiency and also on seismic vulnerability, and also it could be for the cluster build in this case to improve the innovation in the energy efficiency, because you have to know that to join the 110% of discount on your refurbishment, you have to reach two different scale in the performance energy. So for example, if you have a building that is in the C class, you have to scale up to A, for example. So it means that you have to decrease your kilowatt hour per square meter. But cluster build would like to improve the innovation inside this 110%. So we are work very close together with our companies and also with the policymaker, of course. And we are going to write a white paper that can that could be a support for our policies. And we would like to introduce innovation inside this integrated system, because we already have a lot of innovative projects that can help the energy efficiency and the retrofit and resilience of our cities. Here you can see just a few of them. For example, Mimesis is studying the smart sensorized and sustainable materials for historic buildings. It means that you can embed inside the plast some sensor, and then you can monitoring in a very dynamic way how the behavior of your buildings, if it moves or if it has some problems, for example, of humidity, or for example, the insulation could be too old, so you have to change it and refurbish your building. Or for example, Clivex is an innovative system based on new material for energy harvest in the plant. And we don't have to forget the digitalization transition. So we are working with Bologna municipality, for example, for the use of BIM, Building Information Modeling. So the digitalization in this case, it means that also the public administration need a sort of training, a support, and change the way to work with the citizens that would like to present the project for their home, for their building. And in this case, we are working with the e-BIM, existing building information modeling. So it's a project that can help you to manage the intervention on existing building, implementing the digitalization and all the process to the built heritage. So we would like to push all these innovative things inside the new regulation for Emilia-Romagna region for these 2 years, more or less, for our 110% eco-SISMA bonus. So this is my email, and well, I'm here to answer your question.
Grazie mille, Silvia. Very interesting. I have some questions, but before I will open the floor for the rest of the attendants, does anybody have a question for Silvia? I can hear somebody.
Antonio, if I...
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning. If maybe I could add something, because it is very much linked also because this flagship is also linked to this communication of the European Commission on the Renovation Wave. And this was published on the 14th of October. And I think it could be interesting for all in this call for more details to look also at this Renovation Wave communication. And maybe I just tell you quickly the principles, the key principles of this Renovation Wave, because it starts with energy efficiency first, and that's why I think it was very interesting, Silvia, what you presented, how to encourage to improve the energy system by the cooperation with the region. I think this is a very concrete and good example which could also inspire others. So this is, let's say, the key principle of the Renovation Wave, but there are others like affordability. And for affordability, we will be starting, and this will be together with the social economy team, that we start an affordable housing initiative. And this will be something we'll be kicking off from scratch. So also there, if you have good ideas or good examples, we would be very much interested to learn about this, because we're really starting off on this. Then, of course, another principle is the decarbonization and integration of renewables. So I think that it's also very much on the decarbonizing transport as well as heating and cooling, where a lot will be looked into. Life cycle thinking and circularity, which is really about minimizing the footprint of the buildings regarding the resource efficiency, and also the promotion of green infrastructure and the use of organic building materials. So I think there's another big area. And then high health and environmental standards, because this is then of course linked with air quality, good water management, disaster prevention. I mean, you also talked about the seismic risks, which are in some areas. So I think this is also very much linked with this. And then, of course, tackling the twin challenges of green and digital transition together. And there are a lot of tools which are mentioned in this paper, which are then for allowing for this smart buildings. And there are a lot of monitoring tools which are in this communication. And then the last one, which is but also very interesting and important, so respect for aesthetic and architectural quality. And that renovation must respect design, craftsmanship, heritage, and public space conservation principles. And that is very interesting to link this what was also published, that we look more into the European Bauhaus. And I think there may be also some, because in the Bauhaus, this is also bringing together artists, different companies. I think this is also a bit what clusters are doing. So you might also find there some inspiration and see how you could use this. So I just wanted to feed in this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I have some doubts for Ula, even for the rest, of course. Okay, if I am right, this is not only about innovation, but also about investment. Okay, so could we help our members to present projects related to new buildings, new facilities? I can give you one example. I have one of my members that is asking me if they are a hospital with something like 80 different facilities across Spain, okay? And they are asking me, could we propose a project related to enable all these facilities to make telemedicine? Is this kind of projects, could it make sense for this recovery plan?
I think definitely these are the kind of proposals which would make sense for the recovery plan. But again, you need to take into consideration that the recovery plans will be done on national level. So this kind of ideas should now flow towards the ministries which are responsible for the recovery plan. And as in the recovery plan, they have to spell out very concrete projects. And I think particularly things linked to hospitals and improving features like telemedicine are very high on the agenda. So I think this is this kind of projects which stand a very high chance.
More questions, because as much as we are speaking with our authorities, there are a lot of new doubts and ideas. Okay, so if I am right, the plans will be presented by the national government to the European Commission, and they will open a period of dialogue. Okay, and the plans will be, the proposals will be reviewed. Okay. This review will be related to the flagships. There will be teams by flagship, or because what happens if one proposal is related to more than one flagships? I mean, it could mix a building with renewable energy, for example.
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, even if in Renovate, you clearly have spelled out the use of renewables. So I think this is clearly linked, and these things should be not seen in isolation. But it is true, there will be these discussions, these dialogues, then once the draft plans are submitted between the Commission. There will be special country teams which will then discuss with the countries on the way forward.
Thank you. I don't want to monopolize the questions. Does anybody have more questions, comments? Other suggestions or doubts, proposals? This is the intention of this meeting. Please share it.
Antonio, I see that Dolores has made a comment in the chat.
Hello, Dolores. Could you, are you able to speak?
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I just put a comment because I was listening to what are the strategic actions or lines related to this flagship, and one that can be a possibility to integrate in buildings is to combine sustainable resources with fuel cells technology, because the sustainable resources has the limitations that sometimes are quite they fluctuate, are not constant. It depends of the solar, the disponibility of the sun or the wind, and maybe it's not constant for everywhere, and can be compensated with fuel cells that also are a clean technology, and also if there is the possibility to create more energy. It's possible to storage and then use later, or for other purposes. Just this is a suggestion or a comment, whatever.
It's an excellent possibility. Are there any clusters here working on this?
Can I say something about it?
For sure, Silvia.
Yeah, well, we try to work on these topics with our is a sort of intercluster topics for us, because we have another cluster that is green tech, that is based on energy and sustainability. And we try to work with them, improve the knowledge in the multi-utilities, and also with the finance system and tools that can encourage the use of the renewable energy, such as solar panel or wind or something like this. But here in Italy in general, not only in my region, we have a big problem with the requirements, because we have a law that say that that is compulsory for us to don't use, for example, wind turbine in the natural landscape, or we cannot use solar panel, or both photovoltaics or solar thermal panels in the historical city center. So for us, it's a very challenge, a big challenge to use the renewable energy resource, and we try to work on it. And first of all, in the energy hierarchy, we try first of all to work on the insulation of building, and try to decrease the energy and color transmission through stratigraphy of the wall. So this is our situation now, but I think that is a very important what Dolores said. So, well, the problem in general is that we have to manage the requirement from the top and what we can do in the bottom. This is the problem.
And if I can come in here, Silvia, I think this is one of the cases where it is important, because in this recovery process, it's not only about the budget, it's also about reforms needed. And I think what you just pointed out seems to create, at least at certain parts, a bottleneck. And I think this should be things probably which should be also put in this national recovery plan, because the idea is also to show where is an issue and that the money can flow, but in order that the money can then be used as it should be, there need to be reforms in national laws or regional laws. So I think this is a very good point, where you need this link between the budget and the reforms.
Yes, Antonio, can I make a very short question to Silvia? Silvia, thank you very much for your very good presentation. One of the aspects of the smart cities, as you know, is energy. We speak about IT, we speak about habitat, we speak about mobility, but speak also about energy efficiency. From your experience in Italy, how do you see the role of the municipalities and of the local governments within this new strategy for efficiency, energy, within the smart city strategies?
The role of the municipalities here in Italy is very important, and I noticed that if you found a great mayor, or if you found technicians in municipality that really understand what you would like to do, the work is not so hard. You can easily introduce the carbonization program. You can easily introduce smart city program, smart road, the IoT. I work with different municipalities here in Italy for European project on energy refurbishment and also the monitoring. So we use IoT, smart meters for the energy. And how can I say? Well, if you give them a easy document that can briefly read, briefly understand, and you can also find some funds to do that. They can follow you and you can do what you want. But you have to be very technical prepared to do it. This is very important here.
And I have another question related to that, okay? Because as far as I understand, in the recovery plans, it's possible to include also projects related to investment or new buildings, new facilities for public administration. And we, as clusters, can promote that involving our members. Is that right? Are you working on that field? I'm not speaking about small innovation projects. I'm not speaking just about inserting sensors in a building. I am speaking about the big investment, the creation of new intelligent buildings, or, you know?
Yeah. Well, in reality, here we are working on a very big building. For maybe you already know, but you can search on internet the new site for Tecnopolo. That is the biggest work site in Italy now after Morandi Bridge. And in this case, the project is not mine, but I know it because I visit them and I go there with one of my startup member of Cluster Build to work on COVID anti-COVID solution. Sorry. And we work on this very big building that is both we refurbish an old historic building that was designed by the engineer Nervi, and the second one is a new building, and they use all the things that we that I told you before, innovative materials, and also refurbish the old building with smart materials, sensors. But I think that we cannot compare it, for example, with the age building in the north of Europe. It's not a cognitive building in this case. But I think that it's a good result for us. Maybe in Italy we are not ready for cognitive building that can improve their intelligence and chat with the consumers, with the prosumers. Why not at the end? But I think that is a big step for us in this case.
Are there references between the rest of the attendants of these kind of proposals?
May I, Antonio?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you. Special thanks to our presenters, Nina and Sylvia. I just want to give some loose thoughts about the situation here in Portugal. I think that as everybody has seen through Nina's contribution in the chat, with the renovation communication by the EU was done in October 14. Of course, I imagine that all countries are working in the recovery plans, and some of them, including Portugal, has already delivered this. But I think that for this becoming effective in terms of the actions we can imagine in each country, now it's important that the national governments communicate the Renovate strategy and their measures in the inclusions in the recovery plan to the companies, to the people, and that has not been yet done. I think it will be done in the next weeks. But this is something that I feel that in the cluster there is a great expectation because we have several companies and other institutions working in this Renovate by several strategies, either energy efficiency or materials efficiency or the circular economy principles. So we have different kind of approaches. So they are looking with great expectation about how this will affect them in terms of their market strategy, and of course this expectation exists, but we must know more internally about what instruments they have that could facilitate this goal for the renovation wave, which is to double the renovation rate in up to 2025. So there is a great expectation, and we are ready to collaborate not only internally but also with our partners in clusters all over Europe in the, well, for instance, in the Green Deal call that has a specific area that aims this, but also helping companies to profit from this renovation wave strategy. Basically, that's the situation point I wanted to give. We have already worked in these fields of our, when I say we, I say the Portuguese companies in construction materials and whatever, and the municipalities also that we have been, some of them are our members of the cluster. And so this is something that we regard with great expectation, and I think it will be capital for the for the Green Deal strategy also in Europe, since it's part of that. Thank you, and thank you, Silvia Rossi, for your presentation.
Obrigado, Victor. But I have one question. You don't need to wait for new calls. At this moment, we have the opportunity to propose very important projects.
Yes, there are already calls open. It was not my idea to wait for calls. We are already doing that work nationally and at the European level. Yes, you are right.
I mean, we are speaking out.
Other measures that I thought it was interesting, like the ones you referred, trying to, well, motivate, if I can say so, the government to bet on public building renovation, for instance, the example that you have given. So there are a lot of things apart from going for calls that we can do internally, and we are committed to that. Thank you.
What I mean is, are you creating proposals for the Portuguese recovery plans on building? Because that is the opportunity. Okay, now
yes, that was already written. That was already written. I think there is one first version, and there was, of course, public discussions on it, and there was a contribution also at that level.
These sessions are about that. Okay, so I will explain. Not only, I don't want to go deeper with you, but I think it's important to share. Okay, to clarify ideas and to share what is happening in the different countries. So I will tell you what is happening here. The Spanish Ministry of Economy, or no, the Prime Minister presented a plan, okay? But the plan is very, very general. And now they continue working on concrete projects inside the main rules of the plan, okay? The Spanish plan, that at the same time needs to be aligned with the Italian one, sorry, the European one. What is happening, for example, in France? It was very interesting past Monday that Patrick shared with us those references on what is doing the French government. What you can see now in the screen is an open call for ideas, open until 17th of November, okay? And this is from the BPA France. but there is another one from the Ministry of Economy and Finance, okay, that is open now, okay? So what we are doing, just to clarify, probably you know, okay, but just to be sure, what we are doing, still doing, and we will continue doing is creating proposals for our governments, okay? And just to give you an example, I think that I have I had I don't know, probably something like 12, 15 different meetings this week, planified with my members and with the government and with the local authorities, just to speak about possible projects. And we are building continuously new ideas. And we are helping them to understand, because it's true what Sylvia told us before, many technician doesn't really know about what is happening at the European level, or what kind of priorities there are on that level, and how to align their proposal or their ideas with the recovery plans. So this is a moment to speak with everybody and to explain and to help them understand the opportunity and reach for it. Sorry for the speech, but it was important. Okay, so we need to be very active.
That's it. Okay, thank you.
And yesterday we had a meeting of the Spanish Federation of Cluster, and we were speaking about the strategy. And my strategy and the strategy from other clusters is we have wrote emails to everybody, for sure, to our members, but also to the different policymakers at our reach, proposing them to speak about that and telling them that we can share with them the ideas and the resources of our companies, of our members. The biggest problem that I am finding here is that most of our members think on terms of innovation projects that usually are smaller. And what is more difficult for me is to explain them that we are speaking now about investment projects. And this is something that Marek has insisted many times, okay? We need to jump on our way to approach the proposals, okay? And we should not think only on innovation, but also on how to engage them on big, and big means a lot of money, millions, big projects related to their strategy, but also with the European priorities. Sorry for the long speech, but I think it's important. Any comments on that, Marek? Could you give us, refresh us your views on that? I think that they are very important.
Yes, so can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I'm doing reshuffling with my PCs now. So from a mobile. The thing I think for investments particularly, because at this moment what you were referring me speaking about investment was basically to turn the logic of our projects for collaboration, for exchange of ideas, into really getting into the investment. Yeah. So that from the very outset of developing the project, we think about investment possibilities, including financing from private. Incorporating the whole dimension of the financial institutions, and not thinking only about clusters as SME supporters. No? Clusters can really play a role in the economy in stimulating the development of investments. Including liaising with big enterprises, liaising with huge research, the specialized research institutes. So I think you are doing this. It's just to reshape the think of, like I had discussion yesterday with on preparing the events. People have in mind like prepare us for getting public funding. I think in the mindset that it is to get public funding. It's not about public funding. It's about making things happen, regardless of what financing is coming from. So if you come with the intention that you need to get public financing, I think we are missing the point. The point here is, for example, in Renovation Wave, it's very clear. It's about incorporating all the technologies available at this very moment in investment, in concrete investment project. And for this, there is a range of financing available not only in grants, but as well in financial institutions, which can be used by clusters and members of the clusters. This was my concept. So that the cluster organizations shouldn't look at the only public financing to solve the problems for innovation. In Renovation Wave, you will have many profitable business plans, profitable investments, which don't even require public financing, because just as we had, for example, when we had this financial instrument for efficiency in buildings. Savings are already giving you so much benefit that the projects are financially sustainable even without public financing. Yeah. So this is what. But of course, in some cases, you need to have public financing and this financial gap to be closed. So don't misinterpret. It's not that I don't want to. It's not to use the financial public financing. It's just that we don't focus only on public financing, because I think it's not about financing. It's about having the more efficient building, having the smarter buildings, having the technologies being used and putting in place regardless of financing possibilities. But of course, for the recovery plan, this is another story, because then you need to liaise with the national authorities in order to convince them that clusters, the construction clusters, the clusters which are dealing with smart buildings, which are dealing with energy efficiency in buildings, are really the partners. And here it's more complicated, because then you need to integrate the different clusters from different ecosystems in order to play a really to be a partner for the ministry, so that they understand that you can really make a change, because it's natural that the main partner for them is big companies, which can integrate vertically all the actions in order to simplify the investments. So if you don't have this scale and scope to show that you're able to play a role in a big investments, then of course you're scattered. You're just subordinates of big companies. And it relates to other ecosystems as well. Just to say, clusters can be subcontractors. I mean, members of the cluster are subcontractors anyway in many cases for big developers. But these developers are part, or should be the part of clusters, and it can work together as a scale and scope to be a partner for the ministry to realize that these are the partners to work with. So.
Thank you very much. I totally agree. I think that we need to make this jump from innovation to investment and to business growth. there is something that, and there is one opportunity now to be, I don't know, probably other clusters are working on that way. Mine, we were not working on investments, and I am taking that this opportunity to start on it. So thank you. More comments, more questions? I have one related to something that also has come to these meetings frequently, but I don't have all the information that I will need. It's related to policy instruments, because it's true, as Marek and Ula has told us, that is part of that is a key part of what we are proposing, because for the government, mainly also the national government, it's very easy to make agreements with the big companies or with the very well-known agents, okay? But it's not also easy to define how to support SMEs through this recovery plan. Sorry, using clusters or using other intermediaries. So about that, do you have references on how can be done? Are we speaking about cascade funding, or could we speak about other schemes for supporting SMEs on this recovery plan through clusters? What kind of agreements do you think that it could be proposed to our regional or national governments on this point? This is a big silence. That is
Antonio?
part of the problem. Yeah, hello.
I will break it. Maybe it's true that we can propose cascade funds, but for specific and well-defined projects, not for generalist ideas or concepts that maybe it's difficult how to really be introduced this money in the real impact SMEs or in the territory. Maybe will be great if we can work before to define a list of we can say that it's strategic projects for a region, for a country, whatever, and then ask for the money to implement it if needed, and the money needed. Maybe it's not all need. Maybe there are also private support.
The problem with the cascade funding projects is that mostly they are related to innovation, as far as I understand, no? And if we speak about investment, I don't know if it fits the general idea of the recovery plans.
I have one idea. I'm Rita Moura from Portugal. It's an easy idea, but I don't know if it's okay. But for instance, if we include the number of SMEs in the evaluation criteria, for instance, in public procurement, if we include that, the number of SMEs involved in that project in the evaluation criteria, then the big companies will search more for SMEs to work together.
As a criteria for the agreements on projects, could be. It could be. More ideas or more references on how are you doing, or how are you proposing your.
Antonio Meyer, because you both inspired me for this cascade funding and concrete proposal. I think in the Renovation Wave, I mean, if you for example can bring together clusters from different ecosystems, I mean, digital tourism and construction, whatever, and then come with a concrete proposal. Okay, we have capacity in our members to have the technological solutions. For example, let's talk about installation of massive installation of solar panels in old buildings, just to replace the gas heating or whatever. And then you come with a concrete proposal as a group of clusters integrated from different angles, from construction architects with smart from digital, then it shows that you have integration solution for installation of clusters, and then you could propose to regions or member states to have a cascade funding that the clusters are able to integrate all these communities and then implement really the project from design to putting in place, because you have skills, you have people, you have companies, you have research, everything inside as a package to policymakers, be at regional or national level, and then but it would require some preparation in order to propose something like this in a package, and then these policymakers would see, oh, okay, so I have integrated group of companies, researchers, businesses from really design to the end, which can solve my problem. My problem is that I don't have enough solar panels in the buildings in my territory, and these people will be able to realize it. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Marek. Thank you. I see that Silvia and Dolores are speaking about a combination of technologies.
Yeah. So we are talking about what the Dolores suggest. Where is it? It would be interesting to develop a tool to track all the elements, and I would like to know if it's only a tool system based on sensor and data mining, or a sort of building handbook that you develop when you finish your work, both new building or a refurbished work. And well, in this case it's both. So, but I would like to underline that if we use sensor inside building, and I put some example of cognitive building, it is very important to train technicians for the data, to collect data, analyze data, read data, and understand what to do with all the data, because this is a big problem, because for example, maybe all of you know the tragedy of Morandi Bridge in Genova in Italy, and you have to know that that kind of bridge was full of sensor to analyze the movement of the bridge, but no one read that. No one collect data and understand the information from that sensors. So I think that we have to work on everything, on smart materials, energy efficiency, and renovation, everything. But we have also taken into account that we needed to train our technicians, our professional, and why not improve new professional skills too. This is my opinion.
Yeah, totally. Say skilling and reskilling is key, and it must be included in every project. Very clear.
And I would add a comment that just you say, Sylvia, maybe one problem that we face is that it's full of sensors, maybe too much or too many. It's really necessary to monitor everything in a bridge? Maybe not. There are critical parameters that needs to be monitored in a bridge, and the rest are secondary or can be analyzed more in long time because it's not so critical. I think that as a society also we have this challenge, you know, we cannot pass from 0 to 100. I mean, we need to understand what is really needed in each case or in each application. And we seem that in sometimes we want to implement full of sensors, and maybe it's not necessary.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm honest. I really don't know what kind of sensor the bridge have, but I suppose that they read the movement and also the importance of the traffic, because you know, during the year the traffic increase a lot. And Morandi Bridge was the only one bridge that can connect a very strange city as Genoa, that is so beautiful, but it's hard to live there because, you know, the sea and the mountain are so close, so the city is a sort of line and nothing more. And maybe too much, I don't know, but in general, I think that we have to improve the skills of our professionals in this case.
Perfect. Thank you. Grazie mille, Silvia, for all your contributions. Thank you, Marek, Ula, that is not here, Dolores, everyone, Victor, everyone, Nina. I think it's time to close the session, but please don't hesitate to contact us and to continue working on proposals for your governments. We will speak next Friday about the research and refuel flagship. So please, you are invited to come on and to contact also your network and invite them to join us. Okay. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Remember,
Bye.
remember
Bye.
to inscribe
you.
yourself in the Congress of Clusters in November. Please remember. I don't have the link here.
Yes, we have already 850 registrations, so it's 150 places. Actually, we need to put some reserve, so they are really, it's full. So by Friday we close registration. So please do so. Finally, we have 100 booths. People would attend virtual exhibition, and about 50 pitches. So lots of happening. So welcome, and please register.
Yeah, very important to be there. Bye.
Bye to everybody.
Ciao.